Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Public Opinion with your host, Pam Morton. Public Opinion is the current event discussion and debate show that gives ordinary people the opportunity to discuss and defend their opinion on the public opinion question of the week. And I am very excited to hear the responses to the public opinion question for this week. But first, let's meet our participants. First, I have Monique Patterson Caesar. Monique is an instruction and assessment specialist for the East Cleveland School District. Then I have Tanya Horn. Tanya is a diversity and inclusion specialist. And finally, I have Joy Kennedy. Joy is an attorney. So thank you all so very much for agreeing to be participants on the show this week. Okay, so thank you so much, ladies, for agreeing to be on the show. I really appreciate it. And I am excited to hear what your responses are to the public opinion question of the week. So let's get started and see what that question is. Do you think stimulus checks or other types of incentives should be offered to encourage individuals to take the COVID vaccine, and or should employers other than healthcare require their employees to get the vaccine as a condition of employment? All right, so we're going to get started, and I'm going to have Monique answer that question first. So go ahead, Monique.
Looking at both parts of the question, I think that it's a personal choice, regardless of who you work for, who you work with, or if there's an incentive involved. What's really interesting to me is that when you look at possibly a stimulus check or some other type of incentive being used to encourage people to take the vaccine, you ask yourself, who is that aimed at? If my immediate need is money, it may not matter to me what the consequence may be in taking the vaccine. So you're looking at targeting people in a lower economic situation where that may meet a basic need for me. So I'm going to go ahead and possibly take the vaccine to receive the stimulus check. I may not be educated in advance to do so, knowing that I need to meet some basic need. There's money available, so I'll go ahead and do that. And as far as an employer is concerned, again, I think it's a personal choice, but I do understand there are people on the front lines in the medical field, for instance, that see people with COVID every day and they put themselves in harm's way. I'm an educator, so we would be in subgroup B to receive the vaccine. And honestly, for myself, I'm not ready for the vaccine. Typically, it takes more than a decade for a trial on a new drug. And this has been done within months, less than a year. We were shut down in March, and now it's December, so it's been 9 months. And we didn't initially start to create a drug. So in record time, now we have a vaccine for a drug. This was it yesterday morning, maybe? I saw on the news where there's an app now where people can download on their phone, and if they've taken the vaccine, you reply to these questions or send information to this company to say what your symptoms are, or if there's been any adverse effects. So you're taking this drug and not knowing what the outcome may be. And we don't know if there will be long-lasting effects from the drug simply because we haven't tested long enough. And then the culture of mistrust in our country right now, to me, it's just not the time. And even though science points to taking the vaccine, it seems like it's safe. There are medical practitioners doing it on TV. We are in a culture right now where the system, we don't trust the system to give us possibly all of the information or the correct information. So that's an issue. Again, for me, I wouldn't take it right now, but it's a personal choice.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that response. And now, Tanya, go ahead and give your answer to that.
Okay, so the question was, should people get incentives to take the vaccine, and should employers outside of the medical field mandate their employees to take it. I don't think there should be an incentive for people to take it. I think that with like with other vaccines out there, there's not an incentive. We've been given incentives for people to survive, stimulus checks and things of that nature. I get that. But as far as the vaccine is concerned, I don't think there should be an incentive. I don't think people, I think you're going to find people saying, I'll take the money, so I'll go ahead and take the vaccine. I don't think they should be tied together. When I think about the different types of vaccines in the past, like for polio, for example, things of that nature, those type of vaccines, there was not incentives given at that time, and people took those. And I do understand with regards to people being afraid to take it because the vaccine was created in such a swift way. But still, with regards to incentives, I don't think we should receive those. But as far as employees are concerned, right now, employees are mandated to come into facilities like at my company and wear masks and take temperatures and things of that nature. And I think that if they do not take the vaccine, we need to continue to have those mandates in place. As well as we travel the country, there's opportunities for people who may not take the vaccine to spread the vaccine or to spread the disease to other people. So I think there should be a card given to people as they travel, as they move, to show that they have taken a vaccine or not. Because if we do have a number of people who are not willing to take it, we're still going to be in the situation that we are in now, where people can pass on COVID-19 to others and continue to see deaths rise. So as far as an incentive, I don't think so, but I do think there should be something in place where people are mandated to take a vaccine or continue the processes that are in place right now to keep people from spreading to others.
All right. Thank you. And Joy, what's your response?
The ladies who spoke before me pretty much shared my thoughts and sentiments. I do not believe that a stimulus check or a monetary incentive should be offered. I think when I hear that, I feel as if this is a ploy or a market toward the poor. And if you are poor, as Monica stated, you may be more inclined to take this so that you can get the money. To me, it's like selling your soul, your body, your whatever it is for the money because you're in need of that at the time. So I absolutely disagree with the possibility of incentives that are strictly based on giving an individual money to take a test. As it relates to the employers, I understand why that could be something to consider. But again, I don't think that it can be or should be required. I know now for certain companies or agencies, they require that you take certain tests or that you say not smoke. So what would stop this from falling in line with that? Again, I think that this should be a personal preference, a personal choice, a personal decision to allow something to be injected into your body and invade your personal space. One of the young ladies also spoke about other vaccines. There were no incentives given that I'm aware of so that individuals would take particular vaccines. So why now? I know that it's important for the vaccine to take place so that we can stop the spread. And I also know how important it is for the African American community, who seems to be more susceptible to dying from this particular disease or disorder. But I think what's important is addressing those underlying issues. So for the last year, we haven't. For the last year, we've talked about, or almost a year, we've talked about this virus and coming up with the vaccine. And then we created one in a short period of time. And then we got a special privilege to say, go ahead and push this forward. That is the word we've been using for the last 9 months, but unprecedented. We don't know how this is going to impact us. we have no idea how the virus and its impact will be on us, or this vaccine that we are hearing about now. And we've heard about some people who've had serious allergic reactions to it. I read this morning about a young lady who did not have underlying issues and did not have any of the things that we look for, but found herself in the ICU because of it. So I disagree with both.
All right. All right. I really like all three of your responses. That very good. Let me just explain to you all why I chose this as a question. I was watching CNN on Sunday, and there was a person on there, and they were discussing how I think it's 70% of African Americans have said they want to wait and see. And there's like only 14% that said, yes, they're going to go ahead and get it, like, as soon as they can. And then the rest of the people, were saying, I'm not going to get it at all. And so therefore they were, obviously you all have heard there's just this big push and concern about how are we going to be able to get African Americans to really be willing to get the vaccine. And so that's the reason why I asked it. So now, Monique, from what your response was, it sounds like you're saying that, I'm not really clear on, you're saying that you're going to get it because it's part of what you're going to have to do as an educator, or you're saying that you're not going to get it at all, or what?
What I'm saying is currently educators would be in round one, but group B. If I were asked to take it right now, my personal response will be no. The reason being, we have not had enough time to find out what the adverse effects will be. Again, we've come up with this vaccine in record time. They're asking people to let them know what the side effects are after taking the drug. There's been no trial period, really. Again, it takes at least a decade to come up with the vaccine, and to do it in record time and not know what the adverse effects are serious. And some of those things could be irreversible over time. Joy, made a point too, that there was a person that was relatively healthy, took the vaccine and ended up in the ICU. We don't know how many more cases we will see like that. People are just getting their first dose. A personal friend that's a physician took the shot today, the vaccine today, and her next one is scheduled in 3 months. We don't know what will happen from now until then with the people on the front line. So at this point, personally, I would say no.
All right. And now, Tanya, what about you? Are you willing to get the vaccine when it's your time to get it?
I do plan to take the vaccine, but I think I will take it when others have taken it and they've seen whatever the adverse effects have been. But I am not a person who is going to get out on public social media and talk about the past that we as African Americans have faced. I see a lot of people talking about, our relationship with healthcare and certain type of studies that they have done on us. And I really do feel that this is different because it's not as if they're targeting one population of people to take the vaccine. They're targeting everyone to take the vaccine. And I do understand the reluctance of anyone because it was, created in warp speed, if you will. And also we just, you hear people talking about it, medical physicians and things of that nature, and they don't have all the answers. And so I think by the time it is available to the public, maybe I will be ready to take it, but at some point I will plan to take it because I'm ready to move on and not have to wear a mask or not have to be concerned about getting COVID-19 because I do have an underlying condition. And one fear for me is how will that condition respond to COVID-19?
Mm-hmm. And what about you, Joy? I think you're still muted.
I hate that I keep doing that, but sorry, I am not interested in taking the vaccine right now. I think that I don't trust the system, right? I don't trust everything that you're telling me right now, and I have to feel more comfortable in doing so. I said to someone just a few days ago, it's almost like you're going to beat me down until I give in. We've been talking about this vaccine surely since the summer. So now I'm tired of being in the house. I'm tired of not being able to go anyplace. Mm-hmm. If airlines say you can't travel, then I need to travel. I haven't been anywhere in over a year. I need some sun. I need some vitamin D. Those are the things that wear us down, because at that point it may be a year in or a year and a half, and I can't do the things that I want to do. But I am absolutely mistrustful of our system. I'm educated. I've read, I've understood a lot, and I've seen how, as a race, my people have been impacted. Yes, my people are those same individuals that are impacted greatly by this virus, but I don't feel comfortable with it yet. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to do. And I feel like making this split decision could be changing my life forever. So I don't want to do it.
One of the things I really think that would help, especially for African Americans, I'm not really sure about the incentive. The man on CNN was saying, oh, well, maybe there could be this stimulus check. And then he said, well, or maybe there could be like almost like lottery tickets or something that would be offered, because he said people don't really like to get money because they'll think it's a bribe, but a lot of people like a chance at winning something. And I was like, I don't even know where he's coming from with that. But what I really think for, especially in our community, we like to see effects. So that means we like to know somebody personally. So I think that really may help if people, maybe even the frontline workers, if maybe you have an aunt or a cousin or a sister who is a nurse or a doctor, and they actually tell you, you know, I got this, and you see that nothing bad happened, or they only had a little bit of a reaction. But we're kind of people always who we need familial ties, not necessarily in your family, but you need to know. You know, we like knowing somebody, you know, like I know so-and-so and they got it. So I think really that's what it's going to have to maybe come down to, you know, I'm not sure. But Monique, now, do you work in a school or where exactly do you work?
My office is located at in the Board of Education at Central Office, but part of my job is going to the schools on a regular basis, working with teachers and students. So I'm in direct contact with people outside of my office. So
what would you do if they tell you you have to get this? You know, now we've decided that, you know, everybody who's working around kids is going to have to get it. What would you say to that?
That would be tough. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if I would comply right away, simply because we don't know the adverse effects, be it for me, the teachers, or the students. To that end, I would really have to take a hard look at the pros and cons. Would I put myself in a position where I would lose my job? And then that would be another set of issues financially. But would I be in a place where I take the vaccine but not have peace of mind knowing what the outcome could possibly be? That would be tough. I don't have an answer for that yet. And I'm hoping at some point I don't have to make that decision, that if I do decide to take the vaccine down the line, enough time has passed and there have been enough studies to know what the ultimate outcome will be. If it is safe, certainly. But if there is evidence that it's not, then I may have to make a different decision.
Yeah. And so, Joy, that kind of sounds like sort of like maybe the way you feel about it as well. I mean, you're not saying that you're not going to do it, but you would like to see, you know, maybe a little bit more time or how it affects other people. And then Tanya, though, from sounds like with you are more willing to get it when your time comes, because you just feel like that's the only way we're really going to get out of this. And so I'm not sure, would your employer require that you get the vaccine? Has that even been discussed where you work?
No, my employer has not required it, but most of us are still working from home. And so, they have put a committee together to see when they're going to bring us back, but they have not made a decision. So I know going into 2021, we'll still be working from home, but we do have people who work in the plants who have never stopped working from, stopped going into work. And so they've had to, as I said, they had to, they wear masks, they have to take temperature checks and things of that nature. And I have to do that when I go into the office. But, one of the things I think about is back to the past, we would do well to learn from the past, because a lot of these vaccines, although they have taken years to create, as Monique said, 10 years to create a vaccine, how did people react when one was created? Were people reluctant, or did people, quickly go out and get the vaccine for polio or any of the other diseases that were out there? So I think we can learn from that. But again, this is, and also learn from other pandemics. The pandemic in the 1800s, how did they come out of this and what did they do? So I think that would be good for us to, really do our research in that regard and see how the country turned themselves around in other pandemics.
I think the thing is they're having this campaign almost making people feel a little bit guilty, because it's almost like do what you're supposed to do for your country and for everybody else, and so that we can all get back to normal. But we really, like Monique, to your point, we really don't know what the lasting effects are. We don't even know. And like Joy, when you were saying everybody is getting tired, of being, having restrictions and things of that nature. But I'm not really sure that this campaign that they're launching is enough to really make people feel at ease. I mean, just showing people on, like I said, you're showing people on TV that people don't know. And up until Monday, nobody knew anybody who took the vaccine. The people who even volunteered didn't even know that they had the vaccine, because it was a double-blind vaccine. So they didn't even know they had it. So until Monday, nobody knew anybody who had the vaccine. And so I think maybe over the next few months, as we go to the next phases and more people get it, and you're not hearing stories about people's faces, we've been hearing about this Bell's palsy and people's faces shifting all over. And, nobody wants to hear that. I think people would rather just wear a mask and wash their hands, but we eventually are going to have to get to it. So I guess my question for all three of you is, what do you suggest that, other than just showing people on TV getting it, what else do you suggest that they could do as part of this campaign to try to get people to take the vaccine?
I can speak up. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think that, focus groups would help. I know that it probably sounds boring, and how do you get people engaged? But you hit it on the head. We need to hear from and see people who have done it, as well as talk about their experiences. So as time goes on, we're 1 month, 2 months, 3 months in, tell me how you're feeling. It could be on television, but we got enough people right here in our community that are doing it. Now, maybe not a lot of people that are looking like me, but still people that are doing it and claiming to be okay. My nephew, who was 14, said he didn't want to take it unless somebody like Obama took it. And that is clearly how we think. If I know somebody who did it, then I'll do it. Well, when he said that, I immediately thought, well, we don't know if he's really taking it or if he's doing it for show or for TV. So we still don't know if Obama took it. But that's my mistrust, and that's what I have within me. So I think smaller groups and more discussion about it. You can't throw any money at me and think I'm going to buy it. So more discussion about it is what I see right now. Keep your money, educate me so that I can make a more informed decision.
And so, but what about in our communities? And I understand from your perspective and other people who, who have money. And that was my fear when he started saying that and about the incentives. I said, well, you don't want people, especially now when people are out of work and things of that nature, you don't want to just throw money at people, because that might make people do things that they really don't want to do. But
Sure.
as far as our communities, and I like that idea of having, like, you know, a focus group, or maybe just even people who would volunteer in the community and then go on TV locally or whatever.
Mhm.
And then, you know, by that way, somebody can say, oh, well, I know him, or, you know, but there has to be, I think, more of a word of mouth. That's even with anything that we do, like a new product or something that comes out, you'll get it and somebody will say to you, oh, well, did you try that? And then they'll say, oh, yeah, I like that. It worked out good. Or no, I didn't like, you know, so we get so much of what we are willing to do, not so much from what we see on TV, but really people who are around us. You know, you can go to somebody and say, you know, who has a Honda Accord or something, and say, how did you like that car? Oh, it runs good, it's good on gas. Or did you, you know, like Patti LaBelle's pies or something, you know, yeah, it tastes good. Or no, it was crap. You know, but the thing is, you there are certain people that you will trust. And it's
And if
just,
we put money into that, if we really put money, time, and energy, and when I say money just to pull the group together, or the cost that it would need to be covered, I think that would be a great way to start. Obviously, there are many more ideas, but do we want to put money into that effort? This is the group of people that you want to reach. How do you reach them?
yeah.
I was going to add, I was on a forum. Actually, my company, Avery Dennison, we sponsored a series that Black Professional Association Charitable Foundations did a 3-part series, and their last series was on COVID-19, and they talked a lot about the vaccine. So I do like what Joy said, having focus groups, but they just had a forum. It was a Facebook Live forum that talked about the benefits of the vaccine. Dr. Modlin, who is a known Cleveland Clinic doctor in our community, was on that, and some other people here in the Cleveland area talked about that. So I think those type of forums would be good to have. Also, I have a good friend who's a sorority sister who was on CNN, and they asked her, she's a physician in Chicago, and they asked her about the vaccine as well. So after I watched it, I texted her and I said, hey, when I know that you've taken the vaccine and Dr. Fauci has taken the vaccine, I said, I'm good to take the vaccine. And she says, well, I'm taking it on December 10th. And so so she's the second person I know personally who has volunteered to take the vaccine. And I will be following up with her.
She's taking it, did you say December 5th or January 5th?
December 10th.
Oh, December 10th. Also, she's, wait a minute, she took
She
it
has
up.
taken it. She has taken it. I have not reached out to her, but
She's
her
around.
I'm sorry.
Is she okay?
I haven't talked to her since she's taken it, but her hospital, she's in Chicago, and her hospital is involved in the creation of the Moderna vaccine, which is why she is able, I think it's Moderna, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah,
But that is why she is able to take it so soon. So I do need to circle back with her to see how things went for her. But I'm confident, you know, I trust her. So just like you said,
but see, that's another thing, is it's a 2-part vaccine. And so that's, and Monique, you're making a very good point. We haven't even seen how people are going to fare through this first one. And then, okay, maybe they'll all get through this, and then now what's going to happen with the second one? So I'm kind of skeptical, not because of conspiracy theories, because, you know, I don't really subscribe. I like it to hear a good conspiracy theory, but I don't really subscribe to them. But what I do like to go on is just common sense. And to me, common sense tells you that you have to kind of see the effects. What are some of the longer term effects? What's going to happen after you have the second dose? How's that going to make you feel? And then really, how do we even really know? And they're saying it's not really so much it's not going to keep you from getting the disease. It's going to just keep you from getting very sick. and that's the Pfizer. Now the Moderna one, they're saying that may actually prevent you from getting COVID, but you know, so then it comes down to, so now do you get to select which one you want, you know, once, you know, so it's just still to me a lot of unknowns, but if they can prove that it will be effective, then it'll be wonderful, but they just need to, I think they need to have a better campaign. And like Joy was saying, I think they need to really think about the communities that they are having problems with. And if with the African American community, we're just kind of skeptical people by nature, and it's nothing wrong with that. It's just that's the way, you know, that's just the way it is. It's part of like who we are as people. So I think they just need to continue to, like Joy, what you said, educate. Monique, we still need to kind of wait and see. And then, and Tanya, it's good that you know somebody who had it. So for that, maybe you can report back to other people and say, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and then we're gonna look at you and see. But you know, everybody is different though too. Like what might affect you may not affect somebody else in another way. So it's just it's really some things that we have to consider, you know, about what.
What's interesting, Pam, is that the person that I know that took it today is also a soror in Chicago, interestingly enough. And she's someone I speak to on a regular basis. So it's not even just talking to her maybe once or twice from now until the second time she has her vaccine. I would like regular conversations, maybe once a week, so that I can find out in an organic manner what's really happening after you take the vaccine. So yeah, that'll be very interesting.
Yeah, it's just everything is so new, and I think everybody is just tired. Everybody wants to get back to normal, but you know, I even think they branded it wrong by calling it Operation Warp Speed, because it's saying warp speed. That's just telling you, okay, this is fast. Okay, we're getting this out here fast, and it's new technology. Even though they said this technology been around for a while, it hasn't been authorized, you know, and what we have now is what's called an emergency authorization, but it has not been approved. So it's not FDA approved. Like we've come to everything that you pretty much take, all your medications, food and everything has that FDA, you know, the approval. But this is not FDA approved. It is authorized. It's an emergency authorization. So that's a whole nother thing too. You know, it's like, okay, you're not even really approving it. You're just authorizing us to take it because it's an emergency. Yes, it's an emergency. And again, I understand the importance of having something that will help us get back to normal. But I really want them to be upfront. I want to continue to look at everybody. And so that we can get to a back to normal, or as close to normal as we can get. But I really liked all of your responses. And did you anybody want to say anything else?
I was thinking
closing
that if everyone who wants to get the vaccine gets it, we can do another study and determine how it has impacted their lives. Did they catch it again? Did they, or ever, because they may not have had it before? How were those symptoms? Were those symptoms severe enough from taking the vaccine that you felt like, I'm glad I took it, versus having caught the disease at another time? Will the disease vary, meaning different strands? Does this vaccine help against a different strand? We know, for example, with the flu, that each year it changes. So each year you have to get a new test. The one that I took last year won't help. They say take one every year. So will we have to take this every year?
Right. I was wondering about that myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
So there is so much that they don't know. They're even saying that it may only last 4 to 6 months. But Dr. Fauci mentioned that he feels that it might last longer. But there's so many unknowns. And then also the second shot, I've heard people say you probably want to take off the day after. And I get that because I just took the shingles shot. The first shot was fine. When I went back for my second shot, I woke up the next morning and my whole body was in pain. And I think that's what people are going to be experiencing from the second shot for COVID-19.
But see, just like how you said that, you have done it. And so let's just say, for instance, my doctor said to me, oh, you should get the shingle shot. Well, then I'll say, oh, I know Tanya, she had it, or I know somebody else who had it. Let me talk to them and ask them what, but that's what I'm saying. We need to get to a point where we can really be able to talk to people. They can give us honest answers. And, but the way that they're rolling this out this week is almost like, okay, now let's get this. We're putting these on the trucks, everybody, but by the time they're saying that we made people who are not frontline people, they're saying it might be like April, maybe before.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe by that point, there'll be enough people that other people may know. And the percentage of people who are willing to get it will have gone up by that point. So we're just going to have to wait and see. But thank you all so much. I really love your responses because that's really, I think, the honest way that a whole lot of people are feeling. And I don't think anybody should feel guilty one way or the other. I think you should just do at this point what you think is best, or maybe consult with your doctor or whatever. But I think the consensus is, though, that the incentives monetary wise is not the way to go.
Right.
Yes. And at this point, employers, I don't think, you're saying that you don't think that they should require you to have to do it. But thank you all so much. Thank you. Well, that was a great discussion. And even though it's called Operation Warp Speed, it may take a little while before some people are comfortable enough to actually get the vaccine. And for our frontline workers that are getting it now, we salute you and we pray that everything goes well. Please join me for another episode of Public Opinion. If you like my show, please like and subscribe. And just remember, everybody is entitled to their own opinion.